Hi everyone, it's Matt Barnes here. I'm the lead trainer at Safety in the Market. And in this video, I want to talk about preparation for trading. So in this series, we've been taking a look at some of the words of wisdom from W.D. Gann. And here we'll look at Gann's thoughts on getting ready for trading or getting ready to start trading. And I think this is a really important topic to look at, particularly in today's environment where it's so easy for anyone to just open up a trading account, deposit some money in their credit card, and be trading within minutes. So let's have a look at what W.D. Gann thinks about that. So this quote is taken from the first page of Gann's first book called Truth of the Stock Tape. And it's interesting because this was written, it was Gann's first book, but it was written after he had 20 years of experience as a trader in the market. So he really knew what he was talking about. He'd been there, he'd been through it all, he'd been through all the good times and the bad times. He's not just some guy jumping onto Twitter and expressing his opinion. And you know, someone jumps on Twitter, they express an opinion. If enough people click like, they'll get a book deal and they'll publish a book within 6 months, regardless of whether what they have to say is, is tried and tested and true. So keep in mind, as I said, that this is Gann writing at the start of his writing career, because he wrote some more books later, but still he had 20 years of experience here with this first book. So let's look at the first quote. Gann says, "Lawyers, doctors, engineers, and professionals who make a success spend anywhere from 2 to 5 years' time studying and preparing to practice their profession before they begin making any money." That's from page 1 of The Truth of the Stock Tape. Then he goes on to say, people enter into speculation in Wall Street without any preparation whatsoever. They have made no study of it whatsoever. They try to deal in something they know nothing about. Is it any wonder then that they lose? So two really important things there. Number one, can you imagine a doctor, say a medical student in their first year of, or their first week rather, of university, walking in to an operating theatre? You've got a patient who's about to have brain surgery and the student attempting to do the brain surgery, and perhaps walking over, picking up a scalpel and saying, this looks sharp, what does this do? Well, that's the analogy that Gann's using here for people entering into the financial markets. They've done no study, no preparation. They just jump in. And then when they lose money, they wonder why they've lost money. And Gann says, is it any wonder then that they lose? So think about the preparation that goes into being a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. Think about what a lawyer does to get ready. They study the law and they look over a wide range of case studies. So they look at a range of cases that have happened in the past. They look at the outcomes of those cases, the precedents, the different laws that were invoked during that case. There's a lot of work that goes in there. And that's the approach that Gann is suggesting that we take when it comes to trading in the markets. Now, at Safety in the Market, we're not saying that you should go and study for 2 years or 5 years before you take your first trade, but you should really consider putting some time and effort in before jumping into the market and putting your hard-earned money at risk in the markets there. Our active trader program, for example, we have a study guide that takes you through that in 6 months. Obviously, 6 months is a lot less than 2 to 5 years. But again, if you apply yourself and work really hard, you can actually cut that time down even lower than 6 months. But having said that, you can't cut it down to zero. There is a learning curve. And I think that's best summed up by the next quote that Gann gives you. This is not a quote directly from Gann. This is Gann quoting Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he quotes Emerson saying, "No man can learn what he has not preparation for learning, however near to his eyes is the object. A chemist may tell his most precious secrets to a carpenter, and he shall never be the wiser. The same secrets he would not utter to a chemist for an estate." And this is a quote that is really worth sitting with for a few minutes and pondering. Okay, think about a chemist who may know some really precious secrets. He can just blurt those out in front of a carpenter and the carpenter will be never the wiser. But those same secrets, you couldn't force him to utter them to another chemist who could run off with them and really profit with those, even for a whole estate. And I'm not trying to say that this is all about secrets and we've got secrets and I know things you don't and that kind of attitude. I think that misses the point here. The point here is on preparation for learning. And it's this: you can't instantly learn something. The chemist could tell those secrets to a carpenter, but the carpenter doesn't have the basic foundation to be able to take those lessons and do something with them. The carpenter hasn't been through the same learning curve or the same learning process as that chemist and learned about the basics of chemistry and all the things that add on that. I don't really know. I wasn't very good at chemistry at high school. Okay, but the same thing happens with trading. I could tell you, in a few minutes, probably in about 30 seconds, everything that you need to know to make a success in the markets, but it could then take you, months and probably years to go and study those to the point where you could use them all properly. Okay, so there is that idea of we need to be prepared for learning, and it's in stages. We do it bit by bit. All right, now, what does this all mean for us as traders? I want to end with a quote from the Active Trader program from David Bowden. David says, when you completed your secondary school education and maybe a university degree, you were almost certainly left with the belief that 50% is a pass. David says a 50% mastery of any proven trading system will leave you penniless. Mastery is the aim of this program. Anything less is simply not good enough. All right. I'll ask you to cast your minds back if you haven't watched another one of our videos on this channel, which is called Why Do You Want to Trade? Think about why you want to trade and why you're getting into this. Okay, how important is it for you? Because if it's important to you, you're going to put more work and more effort in, and you're going to do it properly. I remember being at university and listening to people talk about what percentage they needed in the final exam so that they could pass the unit and scrape a pass, because if they score 50%, they can pass that unit and move on to the next subject. Okay, but in trading, as David says here, that's not good enough. Everything needs to be as good as we can make it. We need to learn how to do this properly. And as I said, if you can be very clear on why you want to trade, then this attitude and this approach is going to spur you on and encourage you. It's not going to be a problem for you, okay? But if you're not really sure why you want to trade, hey, trading is a bit of a journey. It's not an overnight thing where you just, someone tells you a secret today and you make $1 million tomorrow. There is a journey there. There are lessons that you need to learn. So be clear on that. Be prepared when you get into trading, know what's ahead of you, and then embrace that challenge, rather than get started and not really know what you're getting yourself into. All right, so some really good quotes to ponder there. I'd encourage you to watch this video again, pause on those quotes and have a bit of a think about them. Have a think about how they apply to your past experiences in life and how they can apply to your future experiences as a trader going forward. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you click on the subscribe button below this video to keep up to date with all of our future videos as they're released each week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.